Well, I'm Sneaky Pete. We've had a YouTube channel for a long time reviewing devices. The Volcano was one of the first things I ever reviewed, and it was also one of the very first vaporizers I ever owned. It was actually the second vaporizer I ever owned, and it should have been the first one, because the first one I had was terrible. So, it's usually good to start with something good rather than start with something cheap, There's a saying I love, and it's like, I'm not rich enough to buy cheap things, right? Because if you buy cheap things, they're garbage and you throw them away, so. Yeah, I mean, the Mighty Plus is definitely one of my go-to travel vapes. It's seeing the tour and everything, the factory and like what you guys do and how you guys do it. It's just like, it's really impressive. And you just kind of realize what goes into the entire process. And yeah, I was really impressed with the operation that you guys have there. I also like the Crafty Plus. I mean, you really can't go wrong. But if I'm using a plug-in one at home, I'm using the Volcano. I'm trying to think of something that doesn't sound really cheesy, or like the lyric to a song. I think peace is really, I think it really has to come down to like people getting along, like peace between people. I think the world is a very divided place right now, and it just seems that they, constantly kind of push people into more division. And I think that is the opposite of peace to me, because people aren't kind of at peace with themselves because they're fighting one side or another, or just looking at things, in that way to begin with. But I think it's just, mainly just people getting along, because if everyone's getting along, then people are typically going to be happy and, at peace, I guess. I mean, I would definitely say like exercising, working out, for sure. I don't think if I didn't do physical activity, I know it would be bad kind of thing. Like I really need to. I think it sets a good tone for your day, and it just puts you in a good mindset and a good state of mind. Yeah, I mean, I guess the best way is just kind of like love for your fellow man. Like it's the same sort of idea, right? Like it's people thinking about other people and, their experience. And if you're kind of going forward like that, then you're going to have peace and harmony between people. Like maybe more love for your fellow human rather than, a romantic type of love, right? But yeah, I think that's just so important. Oof. Man, I think honestly, there was a few, but I think getting to this castle, because it was kind of like when we were walking and people were like, oh, like, look at that house up there. Like, you can't really tell what it is. And that's so cool. And then that's where we went, like eventually you're like, are we going there? Like once you get to like the end leg of the hike and you're going quite steep, you're like, I think we're going here. Then you get here and it's just magnificent. Like, it's like, wow. And he said it was 800 years old or something like that. Like, we don't have things that are 800 years old in Canada. Like, not really, right? Especially not buildings or things people built. But just the view and the vantage point from up here is just amazing. And then, this guy here is pretty cool too. I definitely like this, and I really like this texture too.